You know, the film Whiplash is usually talked about as this intense story about what it takes to be a genius. But if you look a little closer, it's actually something way more unsettling. It's pretty much a perfect case study of a toxic, abusive relationship between a mentor and a mentee. So today we're going to break down exactly how that dynamic gets built and what it really means.
And this one line, this is the heart of it all. It's the entire philosophy of our antagonist, Terrence Fletcher. This terrifying bandleader genuinely believes that praise just makes people lazy. He thinks the only way to create true greatness is through constant, brutal, traumatic pressure. It's a wild idea for sure, but it's also the bedrock of his whole system of control. So this leads us to the big question of the entire film, right? Is Fletcher's method just a really tough but maybe effective way to achieve excellence? Or is it actually a step-by-step guide for psychological abuse, just disguised as high-level teaching? To figure that out, we have to start by taking apart Fletcher's main argument, this whole idea that his methods are okay because he's chasing genius. Okay, so Fletcher's entire justification hangs on this one belief: trauma creates greatness. But the thing is, this idea isn't just harsh, it's fundamentally wrong. There's literally no scientific evidence to support it. In the real world, it's psychologically corrosive. It's an unsafe way to teach anything. It doesn't build people up, it just breaks them down. Now, before any abuse can really take hold, you have to have a power imbalance. So let's look at how Fletcher systematically builds this architecture of total power over his student, Andrew. Fletcher's power isn't just one thing. It stands on four huge pillars. First, there's his institutional power. He's a top professor at a world-class school. Second, he holds all the evaluative power. He is the one and only judge of who is great. Third, he has network power, meaning he controls who gets a career after they graduate. And finally, and this might be the most twisted part, he has psychological power, just by being totally unpredictable. It keeps his students in a constant state of fear. So here's the crucial thing to understand. This power imbalance isn't just a little off, it's absolute. Andrew has no one to go to for help, no other expert to say, hey, you're actually good. He has no other path forward. He is completely, totally trapped in Fletcher's world with nothing to balance the scales. All right, so with that power structure firmly in place, Fletcher starts using these specific, almost clinical tools of psychological control. Let's dig into his tactics. First up is a classic from the addiction playbook. It's called intermittent reinforcement. Fletcher almost never gives praise. But every once in a while, when you least expect it, he'll offer this tiny crumb of approval. And it acts like a drug. It doesn't build confidence. It creates this desperate dependency. It makes Andrew crave that little bit of approval more than anything else in the world. Next, Fletcher systematically starts to shrink Andrew's identity. Andrew stops being a person, a son, a friend, someone who could be in a relationship. He gets boiled down to just one thing. In Fletcher's eyes, he is either a great drummer or he is nothing. His entire self-worth gets tied to this one single role. And then there's his most obvious tactic, using shame as a teaching tool. Fletcher actually frames public humiliation, screaming, degrading, all of it, not as cruelty, but as a necessary part of teaching someone to be excellent. He disguises his abuse as a legitimate, if unconventional, educational strategy. But here's the thing. This kind of dynamic, it can't be a one-way street. For it to really work, the mentee has to buy in. So now we've got to look at Andrew's role in this whole toxic dance. See, Andrew isn't just a passive victim here. He actively participates in Fletcher's system. He starts to believe this narrative that to be great, you have to sacrifice everything. He deliberately breaks up with his girlfriend, pushes his family away, and isolates himself. And most importantly, he starts to accept Fletcher's abuse as just the cost of doing business, the price of success. So the whole relationship becomes this toxic transaction. Fletcher, the mentor, he's offering a purpose, a sense of meaning, a path to what he calls greatness. And in return, what does Andrew the mentee offer? Unquestioning worship, and the total surrender of his own identity and well-being. So all of this leads us to the film's incredible and very ambiguous ending. On the surface, it feels like a moment of triumph, but when we really analyze it with this new lens, what did we actually just witness? Let's just be really clear about what we saw. This isn't just tough love. By any definition, it's abuse.
We're talking public humiliation, physical threats like throwing a symbol at someone's head, systematic psychological destabilization, and deliberately creating toxic rivalries. Fletcher pushes his students into a state of complete emotional chaos. Let's just call it what it is. Fletcher isn't demanding excellence from an artist, he is engaging in authoritarian conditioning. That means breaking a person's will and then rebuilding them so that they respond only to your commands.
And this is exactly why this all matters so much. A healthy mentor, they create an environment that has both safety and challenge. They give you constructive feedback, not personal attacks. They help you become independent. They don't create dependence. They help you develop your identity, not fuse it into their own. The Whiplash model is the complete, toxic opposite on every single one of these points.
And that leaves us with one final, pretty haunting question. At the end of that unbelievable drum solo, what are we actually applauding? Did Fletcher's methods really create a genius? Or did they just reproduce the cycle of abuse, creating a success story whose entire identity is now completely inseparable from his own trauma? The answer tells you everything you need to know about the true price of ambition.